Taurewa rewa ko te karunui, taurewa rewa ko te karuroa. Taurewa rewa ka whati te tūātea, te puapua o te tūātea. Ka tere ki te tai karukaru e, ka eke panuku eke takaroa. Haumi e, hui e, taiki e.
He Rau Mahara is around acknowledging our tūpuna, our fighting men that served in World War I. Many of us knew or grew up with our grandparents that served in World War II, and it was quite familiar to a lot of my generation. But for World War I, we knew very little about it, and those men that served. My grandfather, who served in World War II, had an older brother, Hoani Hapi Rupene, who served in World War I know that because his name is on the memorial down at the Urupa and also in the church at Tuahiwi. But that's all I knew. So I asked Dad one day about Hoani and what he could tell me about his uncle. Dad looked despondently down and says, I don't know. I don't know anything about him. So I thought, okay. And then I started doing some research and realised that my grandfather was only 3 years of age when his oldest brother came home from the war and died 6 months later. So my poa had no memories of his older brother, and he had no memories that he could pass on to his son, and then Dad eventually passing on to me and the wider family. So that's when I started thinking we really need to do something to acknowledge those men.
We wanted the families to be able to hold something, actually hold it in their hands. There's the stories, the war records. Te Runanga Ngāi Tahu have got behind this initiative because they are our stories. And not only does the book showcase the profiles and the memories, it also gives us a little bit of insight to Ngāi Tahu history and what we were doing at home at the time.
We know why we're gathered here today. I'm not sure celebrate is the word, but this is an important book. This is not an academic text as much as it's an emotional statement about who we are. And I think this touches the hearts of everyone. There's stories in here that make you ponder and think about our ancestors.
Yeah, I just want you to just look at all these men and just contemplate and think how fortunate we are to be here today. Kia ora. So I think we'd been out and interviewed 16, maybe 20 kaumātua around their World War I soldiers. And I thought it was only right that we bring them all together to share in the publication.
It's an honour and a privilege to actually stand today and speak on behalf of Ngāi Tahu, on behalf of the iwi, in this wonderful acknowledgement. And I see it as a taonga that not only acknowledges and gives respect and keeps the story alive of those in the book, but also for those of our tūpuna who also went to war and did come home. And so it's a wonderful way of recognising all of our whānau.
It was an opportunity for us as Whakapapa Ngāi Tahu, as Te Runanga Ngāi Tahu, and as an iwi to say thank you for sharing those memories.
I never thought of the war until Ngāi Tahu began to put the book together. It was then that I realised that I had papers that just might help them. It was also at that period of time that it brought me back to the reality of World War I.
It was amazing to see them sharing those emotions, sharing those stories, and with those others that had been interviewed. It was a really moving experience.
He wrote home to his auntie, Sarah Burns' auntie in Bluff, and she was darning him socks and that to send to him, but alas he was shot before they got there. But as I say again, they should never have been shot, because I've heard stories of British officers deserting. What happened to them? They got sent back to the mother country, as they referred to them at the time.
It's a wonderful piece of work to recall what our ancestors have said and to put them here.
One notable Ngāi Tahu gentleman made mention that it sits beside the Bible in his book collection. He has quite an extensive collection. So for him to say that it sits beside the Bible speaks volumes about that book.
There have been many aspects of the celebration that you're now going to take away, and you're actually going to share that wonderful taonga with your family, your families and the generations to come after you.
So the website was an idea that came after the book, because once we started doing the research, there was just so much more information that we knew we wanted to share, but we couldn't publish everything.
By creating a website or putting in a digital format, it allows people to be drawn into those stories, to be drawn in to those men, to those individuals and their families.
The website will hold all of the profiles that are created from the war records. It'll hold the diaries, the postcards, the letters that everybody can flick through and read. Every time we do an interview with a whānau member, we'll upload that for people to be able to watch.
Used to talk a lot about it, and although my sister and I were very young, we used to listen. We didn't really understand what they're talking about.
It also gives us the opportunity to keep adding information as it's being presented to us. We can keep adding soldiers that we didn't identify in the first publication. It allows us to interview more kaumātua to share their stories about their dad or their granddad that served in World War I.
Being able to give them this information, being able to not only them share their stories with us, but also us share our research with them.
Most definitely the highlights have been sitting down with those kaumātua, predominantly majority of the time at their own wharis, being welcomed into their home, but also being welcomed into their lives, and having the opportunity to be there and just listen to the kōrero that they had, not only around their dad or their paua that served in World War I, but also what it was like for their mum or taua and subsequent families.
I hope that all Ngāi Tahu whānau will feel the same sense of pride that I feel not only about this project but our paua who served. I'm excited that their stories will be preserved for future generations. The great men who fought in the Great War are our tīpuna, our soldiers and our heroes. We will remember them.
E kore rātau e koro heketia, pēnei a tātau kua mahue nei. E kore hoki rātau e ngoi kore, aha koa pēhia i ngā āhuatanga o te wā. I te hekinga atu o te rā, tai noa ki te aranga mai i te ata, ka maumahara tonu tātou, kia rātau. Ka maumahara tonu tātou, kia rātau.